How can one tape gun ensure your success on eBay? Well, we're going to show you how today.
Welcome to the Prof Sales YouTube channel. I'm Prof Sales.
And I'm Just Ask Kaaren.
And you have a tape gun.
I do, and I'm not afraid to use it. And we actually had to prep the tape gun for the show today, and here's the extra tape.
We're almost out of tape. So on this channel, we talk about being a reseller, an entrepreneur, mindset, being in business for yourself, positivity, all kinds of things, really, and a lot more than that, and creating community here. And just so you know, this show right now is going live on YouTube through a Google Hangout. And if you'd ever like to join one of these shows, we come on every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, usually for about 45 minutes or so. And we talk about all kinds of topics, like we said. But today, Kaaren, I think we're going to talk about tape guns.
Yeah, and hint, hint, metaphorically speaking, of course, it's going to be a little bit more about tape and tape guns, wouldn't you say?
Well, you know.
It never is what it appears to be.
So, full disclosure, Kaaren and I come up with topics.
Out of fortune cookies. No.
Sometimes we come up with them a day or two in advance, but a lot of times we come with them the same day. True story.
True story. That's how the genius works around here.
Yeah.
Fortune cookies and stressful rides to the post office.
Yeah, it's funny. We go to the post office, almost every day together, and we usually use that time to come up with topics. Why is that?
Procrastination.
Yeah, it could be. So, but today we want to talk to you guys about success and how you get that. We talked about this on Wednesday a little bit about starting a business and changing your life and how that could lead to all kinds of success.
And what's interesting is, Jason, you posed a question to our Facebook group, to name, what one thing, what one part of your business can you attribute your success to? Like, why are you successful? And what intrigued me was that the answers were as varied as you guys are. The answers were as varied as our members. And it wasn't just a thing or an idea. It was all of the thingies, right? It was a special person or a supportive person. It was a resource like a tape gun. It was, a method, a mindset, a motivator. And it's just really cool. So we thought we'd kind of expand on, what are the things that we do and how do those things evolve and make us more successful? And if you've been here before, you know that we're going to challenge you that all of these things are not limited to just your success in eBay.
Right.
And they bubble over into not only other parts of your life, but your relationships, your other tasks, jobs, etc. So hang on. We're going to talk about tape guns, but we're not going to talk about tape guns.
I feel like there's some people who are just for the tape guns. So
I think so too, or just the tape. Like I wanted to make a thumbnail that I just wrapped him up in tape, but you know what his response was? Tell him. What did you say?
That would not be a wise use of a business resource.
He said people are going to say you're wasting the tape.
True story. Although some might say keeping me from talking would not be a waste. But we always look to these big tasks that we have in life or projects or a way that we want to go. And we think that doing these big things, that's going to change our business. It's going to change our lives. It's going to change whatever you want to change in your life, right? We say, I want to get a better job. So I will go back to school and get a different education and then go get another job from that. But the reality is that all those big things are made up of a bunch of little things.
Yeah.
Right?
Think about it.
And even like the big idea has a lot of little ideas that lead up to that, that all have to be in place. And it amazes me how we tend to focus a lot of times. And I know it's the whole, there's the old saying, don't focus, you can't see the forest for the trees. But that's not really what we're talking about here. What we're talking about is the big things in life only happen because you do the little things in life. It's really that simple. And being in business for yourself is very similar to that. I would even say it's identical to that because it really comes down to a lot of little things that lead up to the big things. You don't start with the big things, right?
Nope.
So we had a kind of an analogy here. how many of you in the chat, or maybe after you're watching this video, have ever trained for a marathon?
No.
Oh, wait, I should put my hand down.
Yeah, we have this sticker on the back of our car that says 0.0.
0.0. That's an amazing sticker, by the way. It's a 0.0. I love that sticker.
What did the comedian say? 13?
Oh, 13.1.
13.1 means you've done half a marathon. So
yes.
I care half as much.
I'm half as proud of you.
I'm half as proud, yeah.
But I've never trained for a marathon, but I know somebody right now who is, and I've known a few people over time that have, right? And people in the chat are saying, nope, not me.
These are our people, right? Fellow non-marathoners.
That illustrates part of the point. Training for a marathon is no joke. I mean, that is a difficult race to run because it's a very long race. And most of us are just not used to going out and running 26 miles, right? For all kinds of reasons. We're not tasked every day with running a long distance. But here's the thing. Let's say you do want to train for a marathon. You're not going to just walk out your door tomorrow and say, I'm going to go run 26 miles and see what happens.
I can't say I've ever had that thought, Prof.
Even if you somehow make it, which is unlikely.
Out the front door?
Well, you make it out the front door and you make it the 26 miles, there's going to be some repercussions if you're, say, like the average person and not really in shape. You know, maybe you're in okay, you're not in horrible shape, but there's a difference between being in shape and being in shape to run something as difficult as, say, a marathon. So there's all these little things you have to do before you can do the big thing. For instance, you're going to have to go on a diet potentially. You're going to have to get enough calories in your body to run long distances, to have the energy, but they're going to have to be the right kind of calories. You can't just go stock up on a bag full of double stuffed Oreos, as delicious as they are. And they are, let's be clear. But that is not going to cut it if you want to go out and run a 26-mile distance.
You got to drink lots of water.
You're going to have to, right, you're changing your diet. You're going to have to stay hydrated because you're going to need a lot. You're going to respirate a lot when you run. So you're going to need a lot of water back in your body. You're going to probably need to consult your doctor because you need to talk to your doctor and say, hey, I'm thinking about running a ridiculously long race. What kind of shape am I in? What do you think, doc? Were you going to say something?
I want the next one. So I want to add one. So what do we like to get? We like to get new shoes. I got new walking shoes just for walking.
Right.
It's critical to have good equipment.
You're not gonna go run 26 miles in flip-flops. You could, but it's not recommended for lots of reasons.
No, I would not recommend it.
Damage your feet. Right.
Blisters, yuck.
And you're probably even going to spend some time reading about how to train. You're going to need to spend, say, well, I've never trained for a marathon, so let me check out maybe Runner's Magazine. Let me go on, read somebody's blog, go on websites, what have you. And someone said in the chat, you need the mental capacity. Now, that's a great one, Leah. You're right. And that's one of those you can really only know once you go do it. Like you're not going to, because mentally it's very challenging as well as the physical part. So there's all these little things you have to do the big thing, but they add up, right? The small things add up to the large thing. If you do all those things, if you get in shape, if you eat the right foods, you stay hydrated, you go to the doctor, you get the right equipment, you train yourself, you get plenty of rest and so that you're prepared and listen to your body and what it's telling you, you've got a chance to be successful. Guess what though? You may do all those things and still not be able to run a marathon.
That's not very motivational.
It's real. I'm just being real. You may do all those things and your body may say, I knew a guy when I was much, much younger and he was a local runner and he ran all the races around town and he was fast. I mean, he would do a 5K in just a bit over 15 minutes or something crazy like that. Like he's running 5-minute miles, 3 miles in a row. Fast guy. But he ran like a tremendous amount of miles each week. He ran like 200 miles a week, training. Well, he did that for a while. And then guess what? His knees blew out. And he was a young guy. He was like 30, early 30s. He wasn't older. He was just, his body, he mentally could do it. His lungs had the capacity. But eventually your body might tell you, can't do this, like for various reasons. So I say that not to demotivate you. I say that to tell you that the small things add up to large things. And we've used the elephant analogy on here before. We say, how do you eat an elephant, this gargantuan task? Well, you do it one bite at a time. But if you sit there and you look at the elephant and think, I got to eat that, you're going to be so discouraged and defeated. If you step out your door tomorrow to start training for a marathon and you can only barely make it to the end of the block before you're just huffing and puffing and falling down on your face, it's going to seem like you're never going to be able to do it, right?
Right.
Because you're gauging your success by the big thing and how you just got just a little ways towards it, just a tiny little ways towards it. And you're thinking, oh, I got so far to go, 26 miles. I can barely run 26 feet. So that's important to remember, that the little things add up to the large things.
So how do we bring that back to eBay land?
Well, there's a tape gun.
There is a tape gun. And the tape gun is an interesting industrial revolution type of device. That's the comparison I made earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we first started out, we did not have this fancy cushion grip tape gun. And this is not, so we're clear, this is not a, just stay with us. This is not a commercial for fancy cushion grip tape guns. But I'm very much a use what you got kind of girl. So when we first started out, it was, okay, we have to pack things and ship things, right?
Yeah.
And I don't even remember, did we have the PFREs, the padded, flatted, whatever envelopes? Did we have them back then? Like in the very beginning?
Pretty early on, but not exactly. Yeah.
So tape. We had to tape the packages closed. We had to tape the thingies closed, right? So we used what we had. And I guess you could use Scotch tape, or you could use a bunch of Post-it notes, or you could use spit and glue or whatever, but they're not going to hold it closed very well, are they?
Right.
No. So we had this roll of tape, and we didn't bring it in here because it's heavy, but that roll of tape and scissors, which is messy. We end up with a lot of things. Some of us end up with a lot of piles like this, right? Because it's awkward to use.
Scissors and tape is not as efficient.
It's not as efficient. So then we upgraded or evolved to the thing on the desk, where it's this really cool, like big tape roll thingy that you put these rolls into, and you're able to easily just pull off what you need. Again, makes it a little easier, but still we're ending up with piles of crappy tape. So then enter the fancy cushion grip tape gun, right?
The tape gun.
Which
XL 1000. I don't think it's called that.
The tape gun 3000. But the thing about this tape gun, and I love it, and I can use a tape gun with the best of them, right? Zip, skip, whack, whack, whack. You know, like who else just loves the sound? He hates it. But when I get going in the morning and I have to like pack up like a big box,
so loud.
It's like, and then snip, it comes off.
Like there's a volume button on it, and you turn it up to 11.
And then I smack it down, and I make sure it's flat, and I feel good about myself.
That's true. That's true.
So the tape gun started out as this little thing, right? And then it grew to something else, right? It never, it evolved, it got better, and we took something simple and made it more efficient. Every part of ourselves and our business has the opportunity to grow like this tape gun did, right? I mean, that's the whole point. If you don't get anything else out of today, it's that it should be that whatever it is, good, bad, or otherwise, this too shall pass. This too shall change, evolve. You know, just because you're in oh boy, here I go. And Adam's probably going to say I'm on my soapbox again, but whatever it is, it's going to change and evolve and get better. And so whatever you're stuck on, or whatever is a challenge for you now, is not necessarily going to be challenging for you a week from now or a year from now. Platforms even change, right?
Absolutely.
So it's all going to change, and you can change right along with it or whatever. I would want to know in the chat, you know, how many people that have been doing this for a while, or even for, even for a short while, whatever. How many of you are doing it exactly the same way in this moment, in this season, as you were a week ago, a year ago, 5 years? It's always going to be different.
Yeah, and I think tagging on to that, it's just this idea, guys, that when you start, as Karen's saying, where you finish or where you're at right now, because you're not even finished, but where you're at right now is not the same as where you started. And all we can really do is evolve to a point in time where we're up with the current trends. We're using the best technology that we can, the best equipment we can to help yourself. Because the reality is all these things, or it's a tape gun, or it's a Dymo printer, or it's a shoe rack, or whatever it is, they are just there to help you. They're a tool. And just like we said, you wouldn't use a tape gun for something different. I'm not going to use a tape gun to go hammer in a nail, but it's great for sealing up a package. So could I do it a different way? Of course I could do it a different way. But investing in yourself, investing in your business, investing in what will help you be more successful is always a good investment. Just like we invest in ourselves with education. We come on YouTube to watch a video sometimes to learn something. Maybe we come on to be entertained. Maybe it's both. They're not mutually exclusive. But we always are investing. Every day we're investing our time and our energy and our money and our knowledge. We're investing what we know into other people sometimes. Sometimes we're investing time to learn what other people know. And it's always this ongoing process. And I just think that if you want to be successful in this business, you have to remember there's a lot of little things that you're going to invest in, whether it's time or money or your energy spent, to get that big result, to get that marathon result. And here's the thing, and this is the reason why I brought up the marathon example. You may do all those little things, and you might not get the marathon result. Maybe you get the 20-mile result instead of 26-mile result. Who knows? But when you invest in the right things in your business, whether it's equipment, whether it's knowledge, whatever it is, you're giving yourself the best chance to be successful. I'm a probability kind of guy. I like to play probability and we're, and the odds against something happening. I like to play that. I like to live my life that way because that's all you can really do, because you don't know what will happen for sure. But if you put yourself in advantageous positions over and over and over, eventually you get lucky, as you like to call it. You and I talk about this all the time, if there really is such a thing called luck. And I think that's what we do with our businesses. We give ourselves chances to be successful, whether it's listing items, whether it's learning what to buy and what to sell and for how much, whether it's taking better photographs, whether it's using a different type of label that makes us quicker to get our packages out. That's what it is. I mean, I wanted to give this example about maybe a goal that you have, or something like a goal you may have had. And I've heard people say the statement before, I want to make $1,000 on eBay. Now, they don't necessarily talk about what time frame necessarily, but let's just take that statement at face value. You've never been on eBay and you say, I want to make $1,000 on eBay, because maybe you saw somebody else do it, right? And you think, well, I could do that, but you don't know how. So what are all the things, all the little decisions that you're going to have to make to have the best chance to go make that $1,000? There's a lot of things. I'm just going to name a couple off that I just wrote down. Account. You're going to have to create an eBay account, right? You're going to have, because they have to know who it is you're selling. You're going to have to open up a PayPal account, because a lot of people like to pay on eBay with PayPal. So it's going to give you a better chance to be successful.
Don't forget, you're going to have to link that PayPal account to said eBay account.
Right. Of course. You're going to have to, exactly. You're going to have to research items to sell. Guess what? You can get on there and try to sell paper clips, but that's going to be a tough road to go. But so you're going to have to find out some things that sort of make sense. And that brings up a whole another set of other small decisions and choices. You're going to have to buy this set inventory when you figure out what you want to sell. Potentially, you might be able to sell what you have in your house, but guess what? You already bought that at some point in your life. You're going to have to use the camera to take photos, which means you're going to have to choose a camera, maybe purchase a camera, maybe learn how to use that camera, experiment with that camera. That's a whole bunch of little decisions that are going to have to be made. You're going to have to learn how to list on eBay. What makes a listing? How do you put it together? What goes in it? You're going to have to learn eBay's rules and policies and procedures to some degree, so that you know that you're following those rules. You continue to, there's just dozens and dozens and dozens of little decisions that you're going to have to make this $1,000 in whatever time frame you want. But if I said to you, hey, I know you've never sold on eBay, but you need to sell on eBay and make $1,000. That seems maybe a little bit overwhelming. And if I said to you, you need to sell on eBay and make $1 million, that might seem massively overwhelming to most of the people watching this show. And it would to me too. If you said to me, Prof, you've got to make $1 million on eBay. Woo, that brings up a whole nother set of challenges, because now, doing what I just said, I'm not going to go spend 10 hours a week in Goodwill and probably make $1 million on eBay unless I have the rest of my life to do it. But it's just, that would be very challenging. So I would have to think about that in a whole different way. And that's reality with any business we go into, any decision. It's all these little decisions that make up the big result. And it is the one tape gun at a time where you say, I'm going to spend $8 or $10 on a tape gun so that I can tape up packages quicker, more effectively, more efficiently, and I don't have to fool with cutting off a piece of tape. I remember when I started, and I'm about to make somebody mad because I'm sure there's people in the chat who still do this. And I know there's some resellers who still do it. I used to print off the labels, the shipping labels, cut them out, and then tape them on with 4 pieces of tape, which I did not have a tape gun, which wouldn't have been the best for that particular application anyway. Every single shipping label, I did that way. Now, do you know how slow that is?
And how annoying. And
do you know what happens when you get the tape on the piece of paper and the paper gets folded a little bit? Yeah. Label ruined. You got to reprint the label. So now you just start it all over with that label. That was so annoying. And then somewhere along the line, I saw an eBay YouTube video. I don't even remember whose it was. And it was like, there were hearts playing, the angels were singing. And someone said, hey, you can buy this thing called a half-page label. And you can print it right out of your printer and it'll just adhese right on. So much easier. I'm like, just here, take my money. I want that, because that frustration of screwing up labels, trying to get the tape right. Oh my gosh, that was so annoying and so time consuming. And those are the little decisions you're going to make. They're going to make your eBay business better. But I had to learn that because nobody had told me about that beforehand. I kind of instinctively, once I saw it, I'm like, yeah, labels, dummy. Printers have been printing labels for a while now. This is not like a new concept. But it just never clicked to me to think I need to get a label that I can put right on the package. So I can eliminate cutting anything out. I can eliminate taping anything down. And it's very rare now that I screw up a label. Very rare. Whereas back then, it was probably like 1 out of 5.
Oh, yeah, at least. Well, because it's problematic with the paper. You have to get it just right. And if the code is bumpy or whatever at all, it can't be read on the other end. So. Oh,
and Leah Boswell says with rounded corners. Yes. Why rounded corners? Because you can peel them up easier. Little decision, but makes it just that much easier. Because, man, I'm telling you, eBay doesn't have to be frustrating. You don't have to be frustrated on the stupid knuckleheaded stuff like a shipping label. Like, that's the dumbest thing in the world when you think about it, that you would need to get mad about. Gosh, I can't believe how hard it is to put these shipping labels on. Really? I mean, we can figure out solutions to that. We're in a fairly modern society here. So I just think that all these little decisions you're going to make like that are going to continue to impact your business in countless ways. They add up, they add up, they add up. And then all of a sudden, there is that objective. You got there. And then there's going to become a new objective probably, but you got there. You made it. You did it. And then you're always going to be thinking about ways to do it even better.
And I'd be curious in the chat, or maybe even in comments below, what's been your most successful or impactful small decision that you've made? Like, what can you point to, just sort of being like almost an aha moment where you saw your business, your sales, your whatever shift? Like, what was the one thing? What can you identify as the one thing that made a big difference, a big success? And that's kind of the same question we talked about earlier.
Yeah. Or maybe it's even a little success. Maybe it's just like, yeah, I used to do this and now I do that. And it's just better.
Well, and what's interesting is it's good what you said, because that little success, guess what, people? That little success has arms that go out into other places that affect other successes and other parts of your life too. Like it's all this ripple effect.
Anna Kim says, I still print, cut, and tape labels. Is Dymo the best? You can use a Dymo printer. Not necessarily. I actually print mine on a regular laser printer. I print them 2 at a time. And if I only print one, I leave the other sheet, that label, till I need it. And so if I got 10 orders, I just load 5 sheets of paper in the hopper, 5 labels, and print them all up. Done. And, you know, they print out and look really nice and clean. The barcode's scannable by the post office. Knock on wood, I've never had one come back that said it was unscannable. It's a nice presentation to the buyer. I mean, you're going to be printing a label, so you might as well make it look good if you can and not spending more time on it. And yeah, so labels are one of those areas where you just don't need to get too frustrated over because you can fix. But there's so many of those little areas with a business that you can, just little things that can make your day better.
You know, discovering padded flat rate envelopes that you can get for free online from the post office, or shoe boxes. Again, free, perfect to fit shoes.
Yeah.
And other things, but it's a great priority mail size box. And it's just different. It's like a rectangular shape. It's very cool. Oh my goodness.
Krillin.
Welcome to the party, Rob.
Rob says, and Krillin with the super chat, man, he is the man. Thank you so much for that. Says, don't think $1 million is impossible. My local friend grosses way over $1 million. He goes to the thrift in a Maserati. He makes a ton from consignment. He's figured out the little things to turn them into a big thing. So that is awesome.
And the success stories are out there. And Rob, I'd be willing to bet he's just not sitting back watching life go by. He's working it. Right?
Oh yeah. He's figured it out.
He's figured it out.
He's figured out the matrix. And yeah, I mean, the only thing impossible are the things that you come up with in your own brain. I mean, there's really just so many ways to make things possible that seemed impossible. You know, instead of thinking, you know, you can't do something, you think about how can you do it. And it's just it's a perspective change. And it's easy to fall into that trap of, oh my gosh, this is a huge goal. This is really difficult. This project I could do, I don't know how I'm going to get there. Instead of thinking, what are the ways I can do it? And
that was the secondary title for today's show, right? Instead of, you know, everybody talks about can't. Well, I can't do that, or it's too hard, or there's this, or there's that. Well, instead of focusing on the can'ts, exactly. Well, if you can't do this, then what can you do to reach that goal or make that happen? And we'll probably just devote a whole show to that at one point. But it's great food for thought, right?
Right. That's exactly right. So, all right. So what else we got to talk about here, Trixie?
We have an announcement. We had a baby. No, not a real baby. I didn't really think this through, but we do have a big announcement. We created something.
That's not what we're talking about.
I know it's not. Obviously, I didn't think that through. So we created something really cool, and we want to tell you guys about it. And we've kind of been hinting at it for a while, but we wrote a book.
We did. We wrote a book.
And we've never, aside from a spreadsheet or something, you know, we've never really sold anything, let alone worked on something together. And so I don't even know where this crazy idea came from, but Jason and I partnered with Steve Rakin and created a jeans guide, a 101 women's jeans guide.
Yep.
And it is awesome. I'm so excited. All I could do was get, I don't know, uber focused on the task at hand, right? And in true me fashion, you know, stayed up until 2 o'clock in the morning, way too many nights. But basically, we played off of, you know, the shoe guides that Tino and Rake and Steve did that were just amazing, and put our own spin on it and added some pretty valuable things to it. Can I tell them?
Yes.
So we have a glossary. Like, it's like 150 words that are jeans specific. And it's so cool because
and selling specific.
Yes, and we throw around these terms all the time, and people don't even know what they mean, right? We made diagrams that show how to measure jeans and what the parts of jeans are. You know, what the heck's a crotch seam? Who knows these things? But it's done, and we're going to sell it, and we're excited about it, and we want you guys to be excited about it for us too, because it's, I don't know, it's like, it's one of those little things where we made this decision like years ago, and now this is one of those evolutionary points in our journey together, right?
I think, you know, too, to so many people over the last 2 or 3 years, especially since I've been on this YouTube channel, have asked me just countless questions about things that have to do with jeans. And I realized I've answered the vast majority of them. And some of them I've answered better than others just because of, you know, it changed over time. But I realized that, like, if there's just a way to put most of this material into, you know, one particular resource where somebody can go to, I mean, I think that just brings a tremendous amount of value to anybody looking through it. I think you're going to be really successful selling women's jeans using the guide. I put in a lot of time researching these brands, going through my own business notes, my own business results, as well as sold listings, completed listings, and so on. And it's one of the things I probably feel the best about, I think, I've ever created.
Well, you should, because there's, I mean, I don't think there's anything out in the, I don't know, reseller universe for sure, but I don't think there's anything else like it. Like, where else could you put all of this stuff together in one place?
Right.
And it's a collaborative effort. Like, it's thousands of jeans, thousands of sales put together.
Yeah. And so I see, you know, some people in the chat were asking where they get it.
Oh yeah, I forgot
well,
that part.
That's the cool thing, because in the description of this video down below, there is a link to the guide.
Oh, special.
Yes.
Special
if
link.
you click that link, you will get basically it's a pre-order pricing. It's at $29.99. Which I think is a great value, honestly, for all the content that's in it. That price is going to be there till the end of the month. The guide actually comes out, is slated to come out October 31st, which is about 10 days or 11 days from now. Mm-hmm. And but the pre-order price is basically half off, which I think is a great deal. You'll also get access, just like if you've bought the Killer Shoes guides, you'll know this. You also get access to a special Facebook group where Steve and Kaaren and myself will be present quite a bit, answering questions, creating community around selling jeans. So we don't even have a group like that we are a part of on Facebook or have created. So this will be something new even for us.
Yeah.
But I am part of the Killer Shoes ones, and it's been really, really impactful. Like, the knowledge that people bring to that group is unreal, the experiences and so on. And I think that this will be no different. There will be just a tremendous amount of engagement, interaction between people in that group. So that's a cool perk to be a part of as well. And I just think that, you know, jeans is one of those things, guys, and I've talked about this now for years. They are so readily available. You usually can get them very reasonably priced, if not super cheap, and they sell. I mean, they'll all sell. Somebody asked me this question the other day or yesterday about, well, what brands should we avoid? And I'm like, I had to tell them in a long story short, there aren't really brands to avoid. There's situations to avoid. But the reality is there's brands that if I would buy virtually any brand if the price is low enough, because I know they'll sell. They're not the type of item that sits there forever and ever and ever, unless it's a really kind of off brand that maybe just once in a blue moon somebody's going to come looking. But there's some of the bigger brands and the more popular brands, even though they may not sell for a lot, you can find them super cheap sometimes. But we focused in the guide on jean brands that we know we had verified existence of and verified proof of sales of $25 and up, and in some cases as high as almost $200. So and we didn't focus on the super high end ones that you're probably never going to find. Because
that wouldn't be effective.
No, it wouldn't be effective. Like, I'm not going to send you out there searching for Balmain, or, well, you might find Balmain, but
Fear of God
would be one of those. Yeah, there'd be certain ones, you know, like 501s from the 1930s. I mean, you're not going to find that very often. It's cool to know about. But I just think that there's such an awesome bread and butter item. And then they have those home runs, those grand slams in the middle that you find every once in a while. And you just go, man, I can't believe that pair of jeans just sold for $80 or $100. And I only paid $2 for it at the bins, you know, or $4 or $5 at the thrift store. So I think you guys will be happy with it. I'm really looking forward to all the feedback about it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really looking forward to being part of the Facebook group that's going to be dedicated to that, because jeans has been a long time love. And I'm definitely excited to be, you know, I'm definitely excited to be part of this project and bringing it out to the community. So I hope you guys enjoy it.
Yep. And we can both vouch that a lot of time, a lot of thought, a lot of effort and creative input went into making it. So yeah, I want to say I'm going to be really looking forward to what people have to say about it, because I obviously love it. But it's my baby, so I'm a little biased, but it's gorgeous. Like we were talking over lunch today with a friend that sometimes, believe it or not, it's hard for me to envision certain things. Like if it's a piece of property and you tell me, well, we'll put the house here and it'll look like this. I can't. Sometimes I just can't. And with this book, I got so caught up in the creation and just the crossing all my T's, dotting my I's kind of thing that I didn't like. When I finally saw it this morning, like I didn't almost cry, but I was like, wow, I had a part of this and it's really special. Like it's beautiful. Can I just say it's beautiful?
Beautiful.
I love it. So anyway, enough about that. That's our baby. So that's the announcement. There you go.
All right. So we're going to now share some questions and comments we've gotten recently. And if you guys have questions and comments too for us, we'll be glad to talk about them. You can leave them here in the chat. Or of course, if you're watching this later, leave them down below in the comment section, and we'll do our best to answer them. We try to answer all of them, guys. Sometimes a little tricky. But we do our best to do that. So we're going to do some screen sharing here and talk about some recent comments.
You want me to be this one?
If you want to.
Is that one for me?
Let's see. So first up, we have a comment from, get this to share.
Dennis Good says, excellent video. Oh, I love his face. Excellent video, Prof. I really needed to hear the motivational talk. I'm hoping very soon to leave my day job that sucks, yeah, which day job doesn't, and switch to full-time eBay. I've been trying to build it up, but it's quite a challenge while working full-time during the day. Just have to figure the health insurance dilemma at that point. Great question.
Yeah, thank you for your comment, Dennis. I think that, you know, I mean, we all need motivation, and I know that the video that I did Wednesday was motivating for a lot of people because I've been getting a lot of great feedback about it. So thank you guys for that. I would just say that, you know, if you're working a job that sucks, as you put it, you need to change. And you need to make a change. And it sounds like you've come to that realization. And the health insurance dilemma, someone else talks about that in another question. It's just a cost. It's just a cost of, you know, here's the reality and what your employer's not going to tell you. You cost them money for health insurance. And guess where that money comes? That comes out of the salary you would have gotten if they didn't have to pay for your health insurance. And they get a benefit by lumping it all together and get some breaks and so on. But it's not like you're not still paying for your health insurance just because you work for a company. You are paying for it.
Yeah, not
you're just not you're just not seeing the money come directly necessarily out of your check, but they look at you and they say, all right, Dennis is going to cost us on average $800 a year, $1,000 a year, or whatever the amount is, and they pay you that much less. That's reality, because that's how we have to run a business. So businesses pass on cost of insurance and everything like that to their employees, because what else can they really do? I mean, they could eat the cost of it sometimes, but even that's kind of tricky to really prove. So I always say, you know, there's lots of great insurance options out there and so on. Some are obviously better than others. Health insurance is absolutely expensive. I don't think anybody's going to deny that, but there are solutions out there, and I think you're moving in the right direction. So they're just challenges to overcome. They're not insurmountable obstacles. So keep at it.
And Dennis, yeah, keep us posted too. That's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah. So the next comment is.
Oh, this one can be me too.
Okay.
You get the lengthy one. I already know.
Alrighty.
Aw, Janet Glass says, Prof, best video you have ever done. I loved it. And I wasn't even here for it, but that's what I've heard. I've heard it was awesome.
Yeah, thank you for that comment, Janet. I really enjoyed making that video, and it kind of morphed and evolved during the video, which was interesting. I started out thinking I'm going to go in this direction with it, and then I realized, no, that's not quite right. So it kind of became something a little different, but I did enjoy making it, and I hope that you got something out of it.
All right, you get this one.
I get this one. Okay.
This is a multifaceted answer, I think.
Yeah, I don't even know what that means. So Mark Kinsley says, although selling on eBay has been great for me at this time in my life, I respectfully disagree that eBay and being your own boss is the best choice for many. A job that offers health and life insurance, advancement, educational benefits, retirement and investment benefits, mental and social stimulation are invaluable. Many people need clearly daily expectations. eBay, as great as it is, has numerous pitfalls such as inconsistent sales, social isolation, constant eBay changes, and less perks for good sellers. Remember, while you're at a regular job, you're not usually spending your hard-earned money. Too many resellers fall into the habit of spending on too much inventory, aka hoarding, or simply taking too much freedom time off. It takes a disciplined person with initiative to stick to the daily routine in order to make an adequate salary. I'm so thankful that eBay gives me steady income for years now, but I've seen way too many who can just not cut the life. They pulled the trigger and left jobs, but simply could not make enough money. Well, thank you for your comment, Mark. There was lots in there, and I don't know that I can really respond to all of it in the time that we have. But I would just say that a lot of those things that you covered were just obstacles to overcome. And they're obstacles when you get a job too. Not every job has great health and life insurance. Not every job offers advancement. Not every job has educational benefits. Not every job has great retirement investment benefits. Not every job provides you with great mental and social stimulation. In fact, I would argue very few jobs provide all those things in any kind of adequate levels for most people. And often sometimes they are quite the opposite. The social stimulation may be in the wrong direction, in the sense that you're working around a group of people that you don't really want to work around. And it can be quite a drag on your energy levels and difficult. Were you going to say something?
Yep, here's my 2 cents. For the most part, Mark, I agree with you. However, it's kind of like divorce, right? Whether it's going to be the easiest, whether it's going to be the easiest or hardest decision you ever made, or it's going to put you in a lesser of a place mentally, physically, financially, whatever, sometimes you just have to walk away. And in my case, and I don't mean to beat my 40-hour-a-week abysmal job horse too much here, but I had to get away. It was killing me. Yeah. It was killing my relationships. It was killing so much of me and my spirit. And I'll tell you this, when my son was first born, my husband and I both at the time said that no matter what happens, we will we'll work at McDonald's if we have to support this family, because that's how we're wired, right? But there has to be some personal satisfaction no matter where. And right. I can tell you, I would have made French fries like nobody's business. But at some point, it's money. We were talking about it the other day, like making $1 bazillion is not necessarily the answer. Making all the monies is not going to somehow be the holy grail for you and make you happy. And sometimes it takes it, like we met a young guy the other day that actually is kind of wired that way. And I'm anxious to see how that plays out. Yeah. But you get to a certain point where you realize what matters. Yeah. And health, my happiness, my personal relationships under this roof are the most important. So
agreed.
Sorry, I just went somewhere Kaaren on that one, didn't I?
Do you want to read this one or me?
Oh, there's another one? Yes, of course. I do.
It kind of comes right at a great time.
All right, Kaling 98. This video is so encouraging. I was stuck at a monotonous I wrote this. No, I didn't. I was stuck at a monotonous production type job, working $14 an hour, micromanaged, by a condescending, I can't say that, not nice person. I would stare at the clock, counting how many more minutes till my next break. I was dying and crying on the inside. I've been reselling part-time for a couple of months, and I calculated in my head that I was worth more. You're darn right you were worth more than $14 an hour, and I have the work ethic to do so. I quit my job, and yet it is scary not having that safety net. I know it is. There are challenges to working on your own, but it is worth it for the freedom and peace of mind that I have now. Yes! Let me just give him a high five to Kaling. Whoosh. High five to you.
Yeah, I mean, that's you hit the nail on the head. There's risk with everything. When you know that a job that you're in is making you miserable and has very little to no chance of not making you miserable, there's a risk that you will become a completely awful person staying there. And completely awful to the people you work around, completely awful to your family and friends, and most of all, completely awful to yourself. And there was a great movie. Remember that movie back in the 80s with Michael Douglas, Falling Down? He went crazy one day because he couldn't get breakfast at McDonald's after 10:30.
That's me, or it used to be me,
or whatever the time was, and he went kind of nuts.
Yeah.
But it wasn't McDonald's. But that was the last straw.
That was the last straw.
And it was all these things like with his wife and his kids and his job, and just he went ballistic. And that's it. It's all those little things add up, and they take a toll on you. And at some point, you have to just decide that I don't want to subject myself to that sort of nonsense anymore, even if it does mean risk and uncertainty and all those things.
Well, and here's the thing. Just because you leave one job in a season and you go to do something else, like life is made up of all of these choices, all of these decisions, all of these seasons. So maybe you worked at McDonald's and then you worked for an accountant and then you washed cars and you got into corporate world and it wasn't for you, and then you sold eBay and then it turned out it just wasn't for you. Man, you can always go back. You can always reinvent yourself.
Yeah.
Step back, regroup, figure out what matters to you, what you're good at, what's going to fulfill you, and then try something different. Like, I can't tell you how many people I know that get stuck in a vocation that they're doing because that's what they were programmed to do. Like, okay, I'm going to grow up, I'm going to go to college, and I'm going to be set here, and then I'm going to do this. Well, newsflash, life doesn't always go as planned. Lemons come at us from all over the place, right? So our alternative is to make lemonade no matter what.
Yeah, and honestly, as some of my friends have found out, and I've even found out at different times, money can become like a shackle. It can become its own prison, because sometimes you feel as if, well, I'm supposed to be here and making more and more money or making a lot of money, however you want to define that. And you get to that level or somewhere near that level. And then you, as Ed was saying in the chat, you worry about, if I leave, what will happen to my lifestyle? I would worry what will happen to your brain style if you stay. Because if you stay there in just this horrible situation simply because you're able to take a couple extra vacations a year, it's not going to matter. There's not going to be a family left, and your peace of mind is going to go right out the window eventually. And all the money in the world is not going to bring any of that back. So you might as well make the decision, say, I'm going a different route. This is not only about money. Money is a consideration, but it's not the only consideration. And I would argue a lot of times it's not even the most important consideration. So I just think you have to look at it holistically. You can't look at it as, you know, I only need what a job gives me, and since a job gives me that, I must stay and do said job. I just think that's kind of a narrow view of it, honestly.
Well, and we're not moving into a school bus and putting flowers in our hair and singing Kumbaya all day long here. We get it. You've got bills. You have to get your bills paid. I know there's going to be somebody that says we've jumped a shark here or something. But trust us, in the decades that we've been alive, to share with you and hope for you, especially if you're younger, in your 20s and your, you know, early 30s, whatever. Thomas says, for example,
go no further.
I know, yeah, that was very funny. You caught that.
I know where you're going. It's like, stop.
But, you know, Thomas said he's in his third career right now, right? Like, we get tools in our toolbox every step of the way. And I'm sure there are things, and maybe Thomas will tell me something silly as a response, but there's things that we glean from everything that we do and we bring forward as we progress, right? So it's all of those three things, those three jobs, those three careers have gotten Thomas hopefully to where he is. And that's not necessarily where Thomas is going to stop. And who says he has to?
Right.
You know, it's
that's
all
exactly
it's just all part of what makes us and how we, you know, it's just.
Yeah. I mean, and someone said, you know, when you feel like, Daisy said, when you feel like that in a job, your health, both emotional and physical, suffers. And
don't even get me started on how your health is affected by a crappy job.
You're not going to reach your dying days wondering if, man, I really just wish I'd have made more money in my life.
I wish I'd stayed at work a little longer.
Nobody wishes that. If not for, I mean, there's other things you may have wished, but that's not what you're going to wish. Because those things don't really mean anything. We give them meaning, or we take it away from them. And we have the saying in poker, when I used to play a lot more poker, was that if you couldn't view, when you put money in the middle into the pot, you couldn't view it as money anymore. It was just a weapon you were using to win the battle. And you had to be very dispassionate about it, whether you're putting $1 in the middle or $1,000. It doesn't matter. Because once you started thinking about it that way, you gave it a value it really didn't have. Your objective was to play the best you could, was to play the situation the best you could. And sometimes you would still lose. And I would argue you could be making a tremendous salary at your job, whatever it is you're doing. And because you hate what you're doing and it's not good for you, you're still losing. Even though you may make 10 times the median salary of somebody here in the United States, you may make $500,000 a year, but if you are miserable and the people around you are miserable and all your relationships are in jeopardy, you're failing, you're not winning anything. You're not. No one is really jealous of you. They may on the outside say, wow, look at that great car and house he has or she has. But if they knew the emotional and mental turmoil inside you, there's no way they'd trade places with you. Nobody wants that. So you have to find some balance there. I just think that money it's not really a defining factor in my book. So we got one more question. We're going to stay on this one too.
Okay. All right.
Or one more comment.
All right. One more. I
got this one?
I got it. I'll be the person. So, Illinois Picker says, the first year I turned a good net profit and was able to show that on my taxes as something earned through hard work and something that is tangible was huge for me. I completely agree with this, Jason. It is something to be very proud of. And that was on the Change Your Life video.
Yeah.
Oh, IP. I can't see the chat, so I don't know if IP is in the Illinois Picker is in the chat today.
Yeah, I mean, and Picker brings up a great question, because this idea, I turned a net profit. So you achieve something. It doesn't matter how much it is. It could be tangible. It could be meaningful. But the fact you did it is meaningful. And because you're ahead of the game, like you're making progress, you're moving. The only yardsticks are the ones against yourself, really. And, what's tangible to me is different for you, and so on. And I think that's it. Like, that's the mindset we're talking about. You have to bring you some sort of value on the inside and not just in your wallet or your purse, because that's not going to do it. It's just not enough for us, guys. It really isn't. We think it is, but it really isn't, because there's poor people who are ecstatically happy, and there's rich people who are unbelievably miserable, and everyone in between. So it's clearly not a necessary or sufficient factor for happiness, money. It just isn't. So you have to find things that are going to bring you happiness and some sort of sense of peace outside of finances.
Yes.
You're looking at me for some reason. That's always scary.
I'm trying to keep straight because some of the comments just make me giggle.
Yeah, we have great comments. So, all right, you got anything else there, Raven Hair?
No, I have a tape gun. Therefore, I am successful.
Remember the tape gun, guys. Remember the tape gun. Remember how your success can come one tape gun at a time.
One tape gun at a time.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for today. So I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. And we'll be back on Monday, I feel like.
We will. We might even be back over the weekend. Ooh.
There you go. All right, everyone. Take care. Smash the like button on the way out. Check out our descriptions of everything. And we'll see you guys real soon.
Yeah. This is Just Ask Kaaren.
It's Prof Sales.
Saying good sales to you.